Today's episode of Running It Back is brought to you by. I almost got you there. No sponsors, just pure sweat equity and a whole bunch of USB drives. Well, do we have an episode for you today? I think you're really going to find it interesting, timely, and relevant to anyone who's worked a retail job, which, let's face it, is most of us. Right now it's July, and normally for me that means I'm watching the Tour de France every day. Of course, there is no racing currently this year, although plans to race are on the horizon. I'm still left wishing it was happening right now. My history in the bike industry goes back to when I was 17 years old, when I got my first job at a bike store. That started a journey through 4 states, many other bike stores, many bike races, as well as lots of experience in retail, managing shops, athlete performance, and testing. I guess you could say my LinkedIn profile would say, this guy's changed a lot of tires. Today talking with me is Cody Pham. Cody is a retail specialist and visual merchandiser for Specialized Bicycles. Cody and I worked together years back at a bike shop here in LA, and as I found out, was his very first bike store job. Kid's come a long way. Makes me feel better about ordering him around in those days. I think you're really going to find his insight to retail, demands of a bike store, and the changing landscape of a small business extremely telling. And we get into his thoughts on style on a bike. Do's and don'ts from a guy who knows. Finally, I forget about his nickname for me from when we worked together. Enjoy. Here's me and Cody. All right. Hi, Cody. Thanks for joining me, man.
What's up, P-Train?
Dude.
I don't get to see you no more like this.
Oh, we haven't seen each other in forever.
It's probably been like 6 years, some shit like
Really?
that.
Well, I was thinking about it. We used to work together at a bicycle store in Santa Monica. And was that your very first bicycle store job?
That was my first bike shop job, and I learned from all the right people. So, yeah, I pretty much gained about 10 years of experience in that time. Whether you're a good 10 years or a bad 10 years, yeah, I aged very well in that experience.
How old were you when you started working there?
I think I was 19.
Were you that young?
I was 19, yeah.
Whoa. I
Yeah.
think my first bike store job, I think I was like 17.
Yeah,
And you
right.
get that first job just because I think typically because you like bikes and you're like, oh, I want to be in this more. And then you get in that, and then like within like 4.5 months, you go from bike enthusiast to a working stiff, and then back to bike enthusiast for like 15 minutes, and then working stiff again.
Yeah, 100%. I think the young folks age pretty recklessly in that environment. But yeah, definitely. I guess I was lucky because I had a short career before that, so I wasn't just like thrown into it without any understanding of how careers work, And I think that's where it gets a little crazy for a lot of the kids that get thrown into that situation, So
Yeah, it's a good point. I've thought a lot about it as well, because a lot of bicycle store employees, are young. They're young, they're students, and they're great because they're good laborers, and you don't have to pay them that much. But the flip side is like you end up getting people who are legitimately like passionate about like bicycles a lot of times.
Mhm.
You do get someone who's like interested in the industry, at least at first, when starting out. I worked with a bunch of like young kids who kind of who worked at stores through college, and they would just sort of like progress. They would just keep going and going and going. They would ride their bikes. They would go to work. The only bad thing is they always leave. You train this like kind of good work ethic, good employee. And then if they have any brains in their head, they're like, I'm out. Some of us stuck around. But
Yeah,
some of them,
the thing about that, like you just said, is that like you have these kids that come work at shops that learn either a lot about the industry or become really talented at something, whether you're talking about being a mechanic or a salesperson, and then somebody tells them, hey, I can give you this job and pay you about 40 times more than what you're getting paid at the bike shop, and doing the exact same thing in the automobile industry or the motorcycle industry or somewhere else in engineering. And then they're like, oh, that sounds cool. That sounds better than $12 an hour and an employee discount. So they go on to do that. But
Yeah.
it's our industry's job to kind of help try to figure out how we can retain talent a little bit more versus just filtering through people, because it is one of those things where anybody that's had experience working in a bike shop or in a retail job that is something that's their hobby, whether you're talking about clothes or, working at a ski shop or whatever you may be into. I think so many people have done that at some point in their life, realize that they had to do something else because they needed to, make more money just to live a sustainable lifestyle. And then later in their life, when they're old and miserable, they're like, I should have just worked at the bike shop my whole life and been happy,
You
so
do hear a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's quite a bit of that. So it's like we as an industry or anybody that's a hobby or just at anything need to figure out how we can kind of create that balance, and I think it's doable. It's just the world tells you that working a retail job isn't cool. And because of that, retail jobs don't pay well. So it kind of goes both ways. But I think you're starting to see more people, especially after crazy times like this, kind of realizing that they need to spend more time with the things they love and enjoy around the people they love and enjoy. So who knows, maybe we can kind of bring this whole thing back.
Yeah. This whole time we're talking about starting young in bike stores. I worked at one since I was 17, probably till like I was 37, 30, and I no longer do, but you still do. You've taken that first job and you've kind of progressed. Tell me your role in the bike industry now.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I was when I met you and I came into that shop, I was I was always been the kid that was really talented when it came to design and sales and working with people and understanding people. But I learned very quickly, and I was never the kind of person that was like, I know more than you, or I'm too afraid to ask questions. So learned a lot from a lot of the experienced folks. They taught me a lot about the operational side of things when it came to bike shops, but I came in with the intent of learning how to kind of spend more time with retail design and help open up and remodel bike shops in that sense. And within pretty much a year or two of working at a bike shop, I was kind of thrown into that role, working for a major bike brand, which if any of you are familiar with bikes, working at Specialized, has given me that opportunity to kind of travel around the world and work with retailers that exist or new retailers that are opening. And I do a lot of the, store design, whether it comes to kind of figuring out how their store should be laid out, to the fixtures, to actually designing the stuff and the graphics in the shop and merchandising and placing all the products into more of a higher end retail environment versus the old school mom and pop shop that you're used to. So it's cool because I get to help out a lot of these retailers and teach them more things about modern retail, while at the same time with that passion and cycling knowledge that I've always been, I've always tried to have or learn more about. I'm able to work a lot with retailers on the operational side too, because I can do anything from, teach some of the mechanics how to work on specific bicycles, all the way up to, helping somebody run the books in accounting, to, destroying their drywall in the shop and laying new concrete. It's like I'm able to do a lot of those things, which the bike industry taught me a lot, but just from, being around the right people, and I've always had that desire to learn more about the things I'm interested in. That kind of helped me a lot. So I found I every time I went into a job, whether I was younger and, working in high school or doing freelance jobs, all the way up till when I met you working in the bike shop, nothing was ever a dead end job to me. There was always like, I want to do this, I want to learn this, and I want to get here. And I think being around some of the right people and of always having that right mindset kind of projected me into the career that I have now, versus being like, I'm just going to be a broke kid that works at the bike shop.
Yeah. Wait, let me get this straight. You had ambitions past working at the bike store? Hold on, let me get a pen. Somebody get me a pen. I'm going to write that down.
I never.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I didn't. There's that. I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen that Family Guy episode where Stewie talks about how he wants to get gauges, and he was like, well, if I get these gauges, I can work at a bike shop for the rest of my life. I haven't got the gauges yet, so there's a reason I'm not always at the bike shop.
That's a strong move when an employee shows up with gauges, like, all right, this dude's going to be here.
Totally, yeah.
He's going to be here a while. I was wondering, I was talking to my bike store friends and stuff from around the country and stuff. I worked in bike stores in a few spots of the country, and they were telling me kind of different things about the industry these last few months that like kind of surprised me. And then you put it all together and you compared it to toilet paper for me, the toilet paper rush of 2020. I wonder if you can break that down for me. What's going on in bike stores right now with inventory levels and dealing with the last few months?
Yeah, so you can say that this is all just a shit joke But yeah, basically with
Let me get that pen again.
basically for everybody's experience the toilet paper issue. You go to the store, can't find toilet paper. This was the first few weeks of quarantine because people were panic buying things that they don't need, and partially because of that, if you think about the quantities of people being at home, the reason there was a shortage of toilet paper wasn't that there's a shortage of actual toilet paper. It's just that you have people that are normally spend half their day taking shits in offices and their jobs, and now they're doing this full time at home. So they feel like there's not enough toilet paper. It's just that all the commercial toilet paper is just not being used or purchased right now. So everybody is buying regular home use toilet paper. So everything went away, and people felt like they needed to buy things because other people felt like would start to see things go off the shelves, so they'd start buying things more. So it was a necessity. People just needed to buy it because they felt like they weren't sure if stores were going to be open, or like just things like that between hand sanitizer and toilet paper, things were going left and right. So the reason we compared bikes to toilet paper was when the gyms started to close and the parks started to close, everybody hates running. So the only option was, let's go ride a bicycle. Let me get a bicycle. So all of a sudden you had everybody and their moms going out to these bike shops, buying these, whatever bike they could get their hands on. So within a few weeks to a month, all of a sudden, all these entry level and kind of beginner cyclist bikes just flew off the shelves, and all the essentials, whether you're talking about basic tubes or tires or things like that and pumps, people started panic buying their essentials. And because the production rates had obviously slowed down already overseas, or even stuff that's manufactured in the USA because of the virus, the high rates of purchasing kind of dequantified with the lower production rates. And even with production rates ramping back up again, you're still having people buy at this ridiculous rate. So the stuff is just out of stock. So it's not that there's not enough things to go around the world. It's just more people that weren't already in this market are purchasing just the things that people that are in this market are already buying. So that's kind of why, if any of you have had experience going to a local bike shop to kind of buy, that bike that you've been looking for or heard about was a good one to start off with, or even just get your bike tuned up. You're like, well, I have to wait 2 months for this bicycle and a month for my bike to get tuned up. Like, what is happening? So it's been pretty crazy for everybody that's worked at a bike shop.
I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
so bike stores are sold through their inventory, can't get any more inventory, and on top of that are backed up as far as service work as well.
Yeah, pretty much. And obviously it's kind of dependent on the area where you are. And if you just compare our market to like some of the shops in Spain and Italy, it's completely different, because in America, most states and most cities have declared bike shops essential. So they're able to stay open, they're able to sell bikes, they're able to wrench on bikes and keep people employed and allow, certain amounts of people in the store at a time, whereas overseas, a lot of them are completely shut down. So here we had the opportunity to get people out, which was really good, because I think, a lot of people would have gone stir crazy if they really didn't have a good form of exercise. So you're seeing a lot of people really, really start to enjoy cycling again, or start to enjoy cycling for the first time, which I think is really cool. But at the same time, that consumer that's new to the bike world is going to these bike shops, and because of the way instant gratification works in our modern society of ordering something on Amazon and getting it in 2 days, they go to the bike shop for the first time, they get this bike that they want, and they are waiting so long just to obtain the bike or get adjustments done to their bicycle. And that kind of turns some of them off, because they're like, oh, I didn't know it was this hard to buy a bicycle, because it's really not. It's just right now it is, so it's kind of, it's our job in the industry and as cyclists in general to kind of help explain that to the newer cyclists and help them get going so they can continue to do what we all want them to do. As we all know, the world's in a better shape simply because there are less cars on the road and more people riding bikes. So let's see if we can keep that going,
Yeah. Well, see, I told you, perfect toilet paper analogy.
Yeah.
Like working in retail, one of the best things about retail is like your kind of customer interactions. Do you have a favorite retail customer interaction? Have you had anything odd come across you the last few years?
I think, oh man, there are too many stories. And I think one of the most interesting things about being in retail is that everybody thinks they're special. So if anybody's ever worked in retail or search engine, every customer that walks in the door thinks that they're the exception to the rules, whether you're talking about wait times or pricing or whatever. As simple as somebody coming in saying like, hey, let me get a discount on this. And I'm like, I don't even know who you are.
I don't know you, man.
Yeah. And then you're like, wow, why should I just give you a discount? And
I got
recently,
$7 in my pocket. Would you like that too?
yeah. And what I think is funny is like people will come to you, talk to you, let me get a discount on this, or can you give me a deal on this? And then I ask them, like, what do you do for a living? Like, oh, like I'm an accountant. I do this or whatever. And I'm like, well, let me ask you this: would you file my taxes for free? Oh no, of course not. I need to get paid. My rate. I need to take care of my bills and my family, or whatever. So I can't work for free. Then why do you think I should? It's
Yeah,
like
it never matches up when you do it the other direction, does it?
Nobody's concerned about anything until it bothers them. And as simple as, and my favorite thing that's happened recently is, a lot of shops, whether you're talking about restaurants or, the bike shops that are able to be open, they have modified hours because they need time to catch up on other work, or they just don't want that many people interacting with their employees throughout the day, just for safety reasons. So most of these shops that are kind of, that normally close around 7, 8 p.m. are closing around 4 or 5 p.m. Right. And then people just lined up all day outside the shop. And then, 5 o'clock rolls around, 6 o'clock rolls around, and we're still at the shop helping out or whatever. And then people just would knock on the doors, and they're just knocking on the doors. And we come and say, hey man, like, just heads up, we're closed. And the first thing is like, I know you're closed, but, and it's like, did you not understand the fact that we're not working anymore? And then the best one that I had was, about last week, actually. One of the shop manager that I was helping out at, he walked outside and told the gentleman very kindly, hey, just a heads up, we're closed. We're open back up at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And the customer goes, well, then why are you here? Like, you ever go to the grocery store and you think that the shelves just restock themselves, and then the trucks that are delivering things just appear out of nowhere? It's like, it was like, this guy had the audacity to ask him what he was doing, business that he owns, to just try to keep people afloat. He
thought closing at 8 meant you have to physically jump out of the store front door at 8 o'clock and get in your car and go home.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in fairness, I have knocked on windows of Chick-fil-A when they've been closed, just trying to just throw the chicken sandwich out the window and I'll retrieve in the parking lot. Thank you.
So you're that guy.
My favorite retail one, when you show merchandise or bicycles to someone, I love when you show the customer anything that's the color white, and the customer says, hey, you know what the problem with white is, right? It's dirty. And you have to like, oh, is that the secret with white? I never knew that.
Yeah, it's funny because people think
it's dirty.
Yeah, people think that about white shoes and white helmets and white bikes and white clothes, but they don't feel that way about white people. So I don't know.
Hey, we should use that with white people. Hey, no problem with white people, right? They get dirty. That'd be great. I love it. Might have a new show on my hands.
Yeah, literally.
My next tidbit on you is you're the resident style man for me on Instagram.
That's what we do, man.
King of style. See, anybody who has style would have that response too. It wouldn't be like, nah, not really. It's like, yeah, I know. So I got a couple style questions for you.
Yeah.
First off, give me your current cycling style. What's your approach? What's your philosophy?
Current cycling style.
What do you go with?
I'm blessed to have a lot of friends in the industry that make really cool clothes. So, my buddies out, shout out to my buddies at Pedal Mafia in Australia. They hooked me up with a lot of really good clothing.
See, I knew you would have a style connection like this. I knew it.
Well, here's a simple, interesting take that a lot of people don't get. What doesn't make sense to me is you get this consumer who buys a bicycle that's very much into the way their bicycle looks, but then you look at what they wear and you're like, you're literally wearing a cycling kit or a jersey that's from like 1982, and it's so clear now. The Lycra is so clear, I can see your ass crack. This doesn't make any sense because you just.
I think I've ridden with that guy actually.
Yeah, for sure. I think we all know his ass crack very well. But like you just spent $12,000 on a bicycle, and you can't spend $200 on a new jersey and bib.
Yeah, good point. That gets lost a lot of times. You gotta have some nice clothes. It goes a long way.
Totally, and I think it's funny too because if anybody who's seen a pack of guys riding down on the road, whether they're training or racing, you're so noticing of like there's these jerseys with a million logos on it. There's just writing all over the place, and it's almost like people think the more logos you put on something, the faster you are, and that doesn't make any sense to me because I can't even read it because there's so many words on your jersey. I can't even see the colors behind it because there's so much text on it. So what we're wearing nowadays, and to look high fashion in cycling, we're just wearing a lot of solid colors.
Simplicity is
Pretty
king.
well, super simple. Yeah, you don't need. It's more timeless though. The stuff you wear will look cool this year, next season, or whatever. But a lot of the solid colors, and it's all about the modern cut too. As clothes change, just like how jeans fit differently every few years, so do cycling kits. Before we used to wear these high necks with the short sleeves, and now we're wearing really low necks with long jerseys, and then our jerseys are a lot shorter too because when you're riding, you're obviously a lot lower, so there's no need for your jersey to be baggy and have the zipper sticking out or whatever. So there's a lot of cool things we do, but I stick to that, and I like doing the matching helmet and socks and shoes. Whether you're wearing white socks, white shoes, white helmet.
Yes, you beat me to the punch. My next question: socks. Give me sock height and color. What do I do?
Socks should not be lower than your calf. That's definitely where they should be. So
okay, no lower than the calf. So we all know the tri/runner sock height, the ankle sock.
We don't wear the ankle socks. No
always a no-go on the bike. But you like how high do you like the sock? Are we talking mid calf? Do you go super high?
We're going 6-7 inches. So
really, that seems high. You're a high sock man.
Sounds high sock, but it's definitely not over the calf. It's just right under the calf.
Okay.
So that way, what the whole point about that is, so you can get a really cliche cyclist tattoo, like a symbol, or like a one less car tattoo on your calf, and that sock height brings the person behind you just a straight up line, just so they can see that weird tattoo you have on your calf.
Okay, so very nice. Does the sock have to match the shoe? Yes or no?
It does not. It doesn't have to match the shoe. But
you're throwing a curveball on me on this one.
But to be simple, to my thing is, like, a lot of people like wearing the crazy socks. Sure, that's like some style points, and that's fun right there. But if you wear a really plain sock and a plain colored shoe, whether you're wearing like a white shoe and a white sock, or a black shoe and a black sock, that allows your jersey to stand out a little bit more. So like if I'm wearing a really quiet jersey, maybe like a white jersey and some black shorts, I'll probably do like a crazy colored sock to kind of add a little color to it. But for the most part, if I'm wearing like a cool pattern jersey or something like that, I like doing the white helmet, white shoes, white socks, because it just makes you a little bit more like an Instagram follower. People might think that you have like a blue check next to your account, which goes pretty far these days.
Okay, question number 2. Sunglasses over or under the helmet straps? What do you prefer?
Sunglasses always got to be over the straps.
Always over the straps. Okay, all right. You're back in my good graces.
That's one of the things that people aren't taught these days, and
no one's taught that. You can't blame them. You're right.
Yeah.
It's just not taught.
Over the straps is just as essential as telling people that are new to riding to not wear underwear when they're wearing their chamois and their bibs. So that's something you gotta go commando.
Over the straps, right?
There it is.
Who would you point to as a rider, a professional rider, or someone on Instagram sort of thing that you would point to that's a good example of style? Who do you sort of like, if you're like, hey kids, check out this guy, that's your style model?
Personally, I wouldn't go with any of the pro riders because they're always wearing like their team kits and stuff like that. I definitely don't think that's cool. I guess you could say, I guess for an ex-cyclist, I think Taylor Phinney dresses pretty well because he kind of breaks a lot of the rules. Like, he likes to ride his bike in sandals and shit like that. I guess that's pretty dope.
Wow, you're going way off the beaten path. You're going like art house film noir on this pick. Okay, you like him?
Yeah, if you're but if you're looking for good style points, I got to shout out to my buddy Ken Clisham Rodriguez out in the Highland Park. He's pretty much the unofficial mayor of Highland Park in Los Angeles.
What's the name again? I don't know him. I'm gonna look him up.
His name's on Instagram. He's Ken122. He's pretty cool. He dresses pretty well on and off the bike, but he's got the sock heights right. He's got the the sunglasses over the straps. He's got a really really nice toned abs. Like, you can't go wrong with that, man. He checks all the boxes.
Style icon Ken. Okay, I'll look that up.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Okay. How about this for a cycling style question? And I just wrote it down in my notes. Black shorts, question mark. Where do you stand?
Black shorts are acceptable, but navy is the new black. If you wanna go a little bit.
Oh, really? Navy.
A little bit more different. Yeah, just add a little bit of navy shorts in there. Navy shorts go with almost any jersey, so you can wear them with the white socks real nice. So it's a good little color. So it's not too crazy. Not too bad. And also the brown shorts are making a wave right now because the brown's a really good base color too.
Brown, really?
Yeah, brown, but not like the different colors on it, like an all brown or solid navy. Those colors are working really well, just to add a little style points to just amidst the all black that we're normally wearing.
Interesting. Brown. I would not have guessed that for a color of shorts.
It's good stuff.
Okay. Well, okay. Last question. A lot of bike companies are going direct. I see stuff way more easily able to get through websites, mail order, things like that. Future of retail. Where do you see the brick and mortar stores and retail? Next handful of years.
Yeah.
Is there still a place for them?
Yeah, I think brick and mortar is actually expanding, and even pre-COVID has been growing. But the difference between brick and mortar before and brick and mortar now is that, before shopping was necessity, and now shopping in brick and mortar is an experience, because all your necessities you can buy online, whether you're getting on Amazon or having stuff delivered to your house. You get your, some of your groceries and a lot of your basic needs like paper towels or whatever sent to your house. But if you're going to go buy something you're really into, whether you're talking about shoes and nice pair of jeans or a suit or, a bicycle, you want to go into a store to get that really cool experience. So I think that's why the bike shops have been doing pretty well in this time, not because there aren't a lot of vendors that are sending to your home, but if you're a new consumer purchasing a really nice bicycle, you don't want to build it wrong and ride it unsafely and then not understand how the bike fits, or what kind of clothes and equipment you're supposed to be wearing when you're riding to give you a good experience. So you want to be able to have that experience at a shop. So it's up to us in the industry to make sure people can have a better experience at a bike shop through the way we design the stores and give people a friendly environment to go in, and also make sure the places are staffed with the right employees. And on top of that too, like you're seeing this whole pandemic trend of people seeing right away their favorite restaurants and bars and clothing stores just go out of business because they can't afford to stay open in this time. So what people are doing are they're realizing they need to spend more time with their local businesses and local shops. So I think you're going to see a lot of people really trying to make an effort to spend more money in their community for the fact of them enjoying their community, because a lot of people don't understand what it takes to run a small business. So they think that, these people sell, bikes or, plants or clothes or whatever, and all of a sudden they just have all this money. It's like, no, they probably only barely have enough money to keep the lights on. They just do what they do because they really enjoy it, So
Mm-hmm.
I think as an industry, you're going to see a lot more. You will see more direct to consumer, but through a retailer. So somebody can buy something from a local bike shop and then get that shipped.
That's true. Yeah. Essentially, the brick and mortar store can be a direct retailer sort of thing. So yeah, that does make sense. How about let's finish up on this. Give me your setup. What's your bike? What's your kit? How did you build it out?
Ooh, what's my bike? All right, so
Take me down this road.
Way too many bikes. So obviously I'm a specialized guy. So, my go-to bike's a tarmac, but if we're going to talk about like what I'm really into on outside of the new high-end carbon stuff, I've got 1999 Land Shark, built by John Slaughter out in Santa Cruz.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, right. So custom steel bike. It's currently getting painted by my buddy Tyler Marchano, who's a very, very talented painter. That's all set up with I'm Vietnamese and Cambodian, but I like to think I'm Italian. So I ride Campagnolo, all Campagnolo, everything. So fully built with Campagnolo course, 12 speed. My buddy Ken works at Hunt Wheels, so he's got me set up on some nice Hunt Carbon 36s. So that's the whole shebang. Stem's got to be slammed. As long as
you slam the stem, do you?
Always slam the stem. I don't care if my back hurts. The slam's got it. And then my go-to jersey is just basic Pedal Mafia jersey. I like the stripes, so I've been doing a lot of like solid color jersey with stripes, nice brown or green bib shorts, something navy, something like that in color range, white socks, white shoes, white helmet, and obviously it's got to be S-Works Prevail helmet, S-Works 7 shoes, and some white Pedal Mafia socks, and I'm good to go, man. That's it.
You get some pure class going on there.
I like to
give me what do you do for your cassette? Let's bike nerd out for a second. What's your cassette ratio?
As a 5'6" Asian dude riding a bike, I always have that little guy complex. I got to pretend I'm a big boy, on my bike. So I run a mid compact out where I'm at. You can't do a ride where you're always climbing 1,000 foot per 10 miles here. Like you can't get away from that. So a lot of climbing. So most people here run compact with an 1132. And I've always run standard or mid compact 5236 and 1128 cassette. So 1128 cassette.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
I feel the same way. You can tackle most things.
Yeah, your knees will hurt, but it'll be okay.
Sure. That's true. Cody, thanks for breaking it down. I like your setup. I like your style. I like how when you and I worked at the retail store, you would actually humor me and listen to me rant from behind the counter. And even though, like, I'm sure you're like, this dude's nuts. At least you were like, that's crazy, dude.
Well, you know how some people, going through a midlife crisis kind of turn crazy past that. I could tell you're probably going through something like that. So I wanted to make sure we
Oh,
were
yeah, since 99.
cool. We were cool at the end of the day. I don't want to
Cody,
be, I don't want to be in your manifesto. Only if it was.
yeah, I've trimmed it down over the years. It's getting better.
That's good. Yeah, your hairline's looking real nice. Way better than
Way better
right.
than what?
LeBron's.
Yeah. See, I knew you were going to give me some good style points at some point during this, and I knew it would extend way beyond cycling.
That's what we do, man. But yeah, we'll talk fashion any of these days. Cycling fashion is just a part of it.
Let's do it. I like it. Thanks, Cody. That was awesome.
All right, man. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, I told you that man knew his stuff. I really wanted to find an angle to discuss my interest in history in the bicycle industry, and that broke it down. Cody is a bright guy, and style, well, you saw the hat. Thank you everyone for listening. Be well, and I'll see you soon.